Call this meeting to order. Mayor, read the roll.
Brumbaugh.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Ferris.
Yeah.
Garcia.
Here. Would you all make the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome all those who are here as well as those who are joining us by social media. Move on to item C, the approval of agenda. I will accept a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll move.
Motion by Commissioner Brumbaugh. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Howard. Any questions, concerns? Mayor, read the roll.
Ferris.
What?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Ferris.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes. Okay, public comment. Anybody signed in for public comment? All right. Move on to consent agenda. Item 3. Item A, October 18, 21st Commission meeting minutes. Item B, October 25th Special Commission meeting minutes. Item C, appropriation ordinances 2021-21, 2021-21A, and 2021-P21. Item D, authorization to apply for the Kansas Department of Transportation Public Transportation Assistance Grants. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Make a motion by Commissioner Ferris. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Thompson. Questions, concerns? Mary?
Howard. Brumbaugh.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Ferris. Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Move on to item 4, formal actions, none at this time. Move on to item 5, reports. Item A, city manager report. Ken, you're on.
Not much of a report, just trying to get going. We got going pretty fast last Monday, so just met with all the department heads over this past week and starting to get going. So don't have much more at this time.
Okay, start with Commissioner's report. JD?
So I just, continue to have the sales tax issue on the front foremost of what's going on tomorrow, and I've been trying to talk to people as well, and people that ask, and I've asked some people too if they've heard or know what's going on, and some haven't, which is concerning, and so how to get that word out. We did the press release to get the facts out. Wound up on page 4, unfortunately, but a little
I know.
further back. It would have been nice to have been more front and centered on the front page, actually, for the I guess the importance of this issue. But so I just I think the biggest thing that people need to know is the impact. Can we go ahead and, I don't know if you're going to share.
Well, I was just going to respond when you mentioned something.
You want to go through
Sure.
this, what you put? Yeah.
JD came by and then asked for some additional information and put together a couple different slides. Can you put it on this TV as well so I can see it? No, it's not on. I'll look
That's
at
all
this
right.
one.
This one's okay.
I'll turn and look. I'll be all right. Just took what they said in their ballot issue of the projected annual revenues of $1.53 million. And if that was, if we would continue with the same percentage that we had with the current issue, which was 27.77%, that would generate $424,881 per year for the city to put towards a city road project. of what this sales tax, just leaving a portion of the sales tax for city road project would do. The county's proposal, if it excludes the city could raise property taxes to replace that revenue, or could ask to have a ballot issue on their own of a sales tax, but that gives you an idea of how much it would actually cost to do that. Now, I also did it for commercial properties, and you know that in Kansas, commercial properties are assessed at a higher percentage than residential properties. So residential properties, 11.5%. Commercial properties are at 25%. So go to the next slide, Josh, or you did. And if you have 12 mills, a little over 12 mills, on a $75,000 commercial property, which I don't know how small a commercial property that would be, but that'd be over $200 annually, $227 annually. On a $100,000 commercial property, that'd be over $300 annually. You know, you compare that back to a $100,000 house, it's a little over twice as much. And then a $150,000 commercial property, it'd be over $450 annually. And a $200,000 commercial property would be over $600 annually, and that obviously would keep going up from there for the properties that are hundreds of $1,000s more in valuation. So it would impact our commercial sector as well for all the properties within it, in order for us to do, you know, have a city project. And that's not saying that 400,000 is a great amount to be able to do a city road project. We'd have to probably put a couple, 3 years together in order to do a decent sized project, or else bond it and have that as the repayment mechanism. But that gives you an idea. I also asked Andrew Bruner, our engineer, just to give an idea on how much to redo a block of street would be. And Andrew, could you give that number that you provided?
Yeah, the total, so what I looked at was.
And might take that microphone, because I want the taxpayers to hear you.
So what I looked at was 8th Street specifically. 8th Street has kind of a varying width between 46 and 50 feet. Average block, 400 feet long. So we just kind of did a general, wipe the slate clean, new curbing, new base, new concrete pavement. Came out to about $300,000 a block. Doesn't mean that couldn't be less. I did have a little bit of an inflation factor in there because we just kind of have to. But doesn't mean it couldn't be less by reducing widths, things like that. But as it currently sits, about 300,000 is a pretty good figure that we came up with on that.
Per block?
Per block, per 400 feet, because again, we've got some 400-foot blocks, we got a couple 600-foot blocks.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So this would be redoing them in concrete, or?
Yeah, that would be concrete. We looked at 8 inches, probably what we would need. 6 would be a little too light. So I'm redoing an aggregate base with that. So, and I based that off of, we just got done bidding 2nd Street and 17th Street, so we had pretty good numbers there to base things off of.
So that should give the citizens a pretty good idea of what it costs us to try to do a decent road project when, you know, we want to redo 8th Street or redo Caldwell eventually. That to even do, you know, that $424,000 that would generate on an annual, and that's an estimate, you know, that's just a little more than a block, you know, and to make that, to say that shouldn't come from a sales tax issue to help people, you know, pay for it, that gets it awful difficult, makes it a lot more difficult for us. Thanks, Andrew, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks for putting that together. So, yeah, to know, and I was just doing some rough figures on, I don't know, I was figuring 21, 25 blocks we'd probably want. roughly calculating, I don't know if that's right or not, on from 8th and Caldwell and maybe a few other blocks here and there, and that puts us right in line with how much we would expect if this proposal was voted down and it was rewritten to include the same proportion that we got the first go around in '06 that we have been receiving since that time. So I think it's a great opportunity for the city, only if this gets voted down. The timing's right to vote this thing down as a no vote and then come back, and it could be literally a 2-minute conversation. We want X, Y, Z added, whatever, whoever's the timing of that. Maybe it happens before the end of the year, maybe it happens after the end of the year, I don't know. We'll know tomorrow night, I guess. But it wouldn't have to be a long conversation, and then we look to rerunning the thing whenever we need to next year. And it could be a special election, or it could be in November. Either way, there wasn't a rush to do this, and early estimates are it expires in 2023. It doesn't. There was no pressing matter to get this done, and this thing absolutely 100% needs to be a no vote by the city. If you're in the city limits, you have absolutely no reason that I can think of to vote for this. And I'm not saying that the county's projects aren't important. They're absolutely important. But to truly say, to keep the current tax in place as is, we need to have, whether it's 2 miles you want to call it, or 25 blocks, or $8 million, or whatever, however you want to slice and dice it, we need to have our share to keep the current tax as it is in place. To make it fair, and to not shift a huge burden on to this commission and onto these employees to have to cut any further. There's nowhere else to cut. We've done our due diligence. We looked at everything as far as I'm concerned the last 4 years. All aspects. Everybody's done their job, and everything's, as far as I'm concerned, there's nowhere else to go, but the alternative would be to have to raise the mill levy. And we've had knockdown dragouts over 1 mill in the past, I think, John, haven't we?
Yeah.
Let alone 12 mills.
Yeah.
So just unheard of increase that would have to happen if this were to pass. So I know there's been a lot of talk on the other side, and I hate that we're in this position that it kind of puts us on opposite teams. Basically, we should be on the same team as the county, but it is what it is, and it needs to be a no vote, and we can no harm, no foul. We'll group back up together and work together next go around, and I'll be 100% for it if we can keep it the same. But the biggest thing that the public needs to know, this is the current tax. It's the 1 penny, the 1%. It's the current tax, but the distribution is totally different. City gets 0, the county gets 100%. That's the difference. So I encourage people to vote no.
Thank you, JD. Mr. Thompson?
Well said. Get out and vote tomorrow, everybody. That's it.
Commissioner Howard?
I'm in total agreement with JD and Aaron. Vote no, so we can rewrite this and get the city involved and save the taxpayers some money themselves.
Commissioner Clark?
I agree.
Well, under the mayor's report, so I was listening to JD. I had been doing numbers, for quite a while for this particular situation that we unfortunately find ourselves. Timetable probably was the most critical. The fact that, this methodical and strategic way that it was done kind of put us behind the 8 ball and didn't give us the adequate amount of time to be able to react. However, as our city manager, alluded to in his report, we did attend the meeting.
And I can tell you that the substance of our conversation was very productive. I simply just told them that I wanted them to understand that in no way were we discounting the imperativeness and the necessity of Highway 24 being done. However, the fact that, as I pointed out, that 85% of the constituency lives within the city limits, as well as the businesses, that it would be the voters within these parameters that would be making the decision. And that as city commissioners, for those who are currently and those who are going to be left, was that we had a responsibility to our city constituents to ensure that our city streets were done just as well. They all, you can verify, reacted very positive. And they said, we understand, and they committed in the event that it would fail down, that they would come to the table and begin at least some conversations, but they did suggest still wanting to add make it 9.5.
They said that if it went down and they'd have discussions, that there would be serious discussion about whether to keep it at 1% or to have some other percentage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just because the increased cost, both for the county road projects and, as Andrew stated earlier, regarding the additional cost for city. So.
Now, you looked at figures to houses up to about $200,000, but we have a lot of $300,000, $500,000 homes, and you have individuals who have those homes who also have businesses. And I can tell you that I think that will be a deciding factor for a lot of businesses, because a lot of businesses in Main Street are struggling to begin with. And I don't think that they could sustain, any type of a hit, of that magnitude. It will be, difficult. I hope that it doesn't pass. I hear conversations that, it almost seems like it's going to go the other way. And if it does, then the City Commission is going to have a lot of work to do, and you're going to have to be creative, and you're going to have to evaluate. And, anytime that you raise property taxes, it's not a popular move on behalf of, as far as the voters are concerned. But it's a tough situation to be in, and all I can say is that in the event that it doesn't pass, is that we move, aggressively and try to bring these guys and say, okay, so let's see what streets, would you want to do, and, what's the cost, going to be. And as time goes on, these prices are liable to change because of the price of oil and everything that's included in there. And that's all that the experts are saying. I listen to it every morning as far as the market is concerned, and the picture isn't going to look good. And so, from that standpoint, that's where we're going to need our creativity. But it was a very good meeting. It was a very good meeting.
It was. And they basically said, let's just wait until the vote happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there wasn't much that they could do at this point to make any changes. And there's no way legally they could, but it sounded like they were willing to discuss if it go down.
But if it doesn't, shoots us out of $3.5 million.
It's going to be a deal.
Yeah.
And so people just need to understand that it doesn't need to be. So hopefully they can get the information.
So that concludes the mayor's report. Anything else you want to add to it, Ken?
No, I think no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you guys have said it succinctly.
Department heads, anything we need to know, guys? Everything going good out there? Good, Ken? Dustin? Everything going cool? All right, Chief, everything good? City attorney is okay, I think. All right. Well, if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Brombaugh. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Perry. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, guys.